Welcome everybody, I'm Gabby Turner, and in this pick a card reading, we're going to be unleashing your Lilith energy, or tapping into it and unleashing it more fully, because I'm imagining that many of you who are drawn to this reading are already very much embodying and expressing the archetype of Lilith. And I will, just as you are kind of figuring out which of these options seem to be calling out to you the most, I'm going to explain a little bit about the Lilith archetype. You may already be well aware, but just briefly, Lilith is the part of us that refuses to submit to other people's demands and expectations regardless of the consequences. And many times there will be consequences for us not towing the line of what other people expect us to do. It could be, a lot of times it's shame. We can be demonized, which is what happened to Lilith. Basically, Lilith was Adam's first wife before Eve, and she was equal to him, and she refused to be treated less than equal to him. And when he would not agree to treat her with that equality and respect, mutual respect, she ran off into the wilderness. And then God sent angels after her to try to convince her to come back and submit to being less than Adam, though she knew full well that she was not less than. And when she continued to refuse, as a consequence, they turned her into the mother of all demons. They forced her womb to give birth to a multitude of demons, and then blamed her for that, and she is still thought of as a demonic person. You know, so literally, when we think of the term someone being demonized, Lilith was the first one. You know, it's slut-shaming, it's demonizing. She did not choose to become the mother of demons, to become the birthplace of all that is evil in the world. All she wanted was to be treated with some respect. That's all that she asked for. So Lilith is a very strong and potent power within all of us, because it takes a lot of power and courage to say, I'm not going to do what you ask of me if I think it is beneath me, regardless of what you might do to me in retaliation. With Lilith, often there are consequences. All right, but this is the part of us that can only feel whole within ourselves if we refuse to submit. So thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I am excited to know. I've been trying to psychically tap into the reading beforehand and figure out like what's going to come up in the reading. I don't know. So we're just going to see. We have three options here. The first one has a Dalmatian jasper on the top. The second one has, starts with an A. This might be Amazonite, an Amazonite heart. I believe that's what that is. And then we have some Super 7 stones here on the third pile. So just tap into your intuition and use the timestamps below to go to your reading or readings, and I'll see you there. Okay, welcome to everyone who chose option number 1, the Dalmatian jasper. I'm just going to unpack all of this together. So Dalmatian jasper, to me, speaks to incorporating the shadow, to understanding and respecting your shadow and not allowing it to have control over you. So we'll see how that might come up in the reading. Let's get everything out here. Okay, we have the crane bag and reflections. Okay. Sacred Ocean Medicine, Clutter, Declutter, and Choice. Let's see. Might want to move things around a little bit. And reflections. What you contemplate can actualize. So definitely something about making choices here about what you want to keep in your life and what you don't. Maybe a reflection on your own personal values, separate from what values might be imposed upon you, what other people are expecting you to believe. Yeah, full. Definitely about kind of going your own way and maybe refusing to even kind of acknowledge other people's ways of doing things. You know, being so much in your own energy and in your own value choices that you're not even recognizing that there are other expectations of you. Oh, and we have the Hermit. We have, yeah, lots of definite inner seeking. Now, see, this is not necessarily something I thought would come up in a Lilith reading, but it makes sense because when she first ran away to the dark forest, I believe. You know, she was in darkness, and she has a very kind of a dark energy, more connected to nighttime than to daytime for sure. Even here on this image, we have a nighttime skyline in the background. I feel like there's a lot of going within in solitude, doing some reflecting on what really matters to you, what your beliefs really are, because I think especially, I mean, this is always true, but I think right now we're living at a time when everyone is kind of expected to all have the same belief systems. Otherwise, you're gonna be the one who's, discarded. But you get to choose which beliefs are yours and which are not, and you can discard those beliefs that don't align with you, right? You know, act like Forrest Gump, act like you don't know any better, you know? Like, oh, was I supposed to believe this particular concept in order to fit in and be acceptable? Didn't realize. Okay, and we have transmutation, black tourmaline. What do you need? Chrysocolla. There are worlds within you. A lot about going within and doing reflection here. Garden quartz. Anchor in, hematite. You are the foundation. Howlite. So I feel like overall this is a lot about getting grounded within yourself, grounded within who you truly are. Let me pause for a moment and see if I'm getting any messages from the visuals of these cards. All right, one thing I'm getting here is to see yourself as more than just ordinary, or see yourself beyond labels. You know, this is a dandelion, which is a weed, but the dandelion has many healing properties. The dandelion is actually a very special plant, and a very powerfully healing plant. It also has a lot of cleansing properties. So sometimes if we just allow other people to dictate who we are through labels, or even putting labels on ourselves, we can be missing a lot of the real truth of who we are. And if you're thinking like, well, I'm not special, I'm just like a weed, I'm ordinary, there's nothing unique about me, nothing notable about me, then that's what you're going to actualize. But if you do see yourself as special, that the world will reflect that back to you. So a lot of being honest with yourself about how special you are. You do have a lot of magnetism, a lot of personal magnetism, a lot of just kind of magic. And I feel like it's the more you can unburden yourself in a variety of ways, the more free you are for that magic to burst forth. There is a whole garden. There are worlds within you. But there's some things you're going to have to let go in order for that to shine. And I think it's more about it shining for you than it is for other people. It's not even about who's going to pay attention. I think there will be people who do, you know, like Forrest Gump here, like he obviously got a lot of attention, right? But he wasn't trying to. He was just being himself. I feel like that's the overall message, is kind of like getting down to the foundation of who you are. You are the substance. Anchor into that. Anchor into who you truly are. It's basically know yourself. I feel like that's the overall message. Know yourself. Get rid of anything that is not true to who you are. Okay, and then we have water. Work with the element of water for healing, purification, and refinement. I definitely feel that purification here, especially with this crane bag, which says declutter. And, you know, he's just got this one little bag on his shoulder. He's not carrying a lot of weight, right? There's definitely a need to shrug off a lot of weight. Mystic Star, harmony in the home and great friendships. Yeah, I definitely feel a sort of domestic energy as well. He's drinking, maybe he's drinking wine, but then there's a teacup here. It's kind of like, you know, kind of settling in and enjoying your domestic environment at home and using your home as a place for personal reflection. And in terms of great friendships, it's kind of like, you know, have friendships that are either great or just don't have them at all. You know, I think we also live in a time where the expectation is that we're supposed to have all of these friends, you know, like maybe it's like the Facebook, Instagram phenomena, like we're supposed to be connected to so many people, or that's the sort of pressure that we feel like, how many friends do you have? You know, the reality is that most people have like 2 or less friends. This is something that I was reading recently. And yet we look out at the world and when we think if that's true of us, then we must be wrong somehow. Most people feel that they don't have friends. People who, you know, the average person has like 2 good friends. You know what I mean? So it's like there can be a need to kind of like let go of the excess, because it isn't, if it's not true friendship, then it's just weighing you down. Okay. See if there's anything else that comes through here in the tarot. I'm kind of liking the fact recently in my pick of cards, the messages are coming through pretty succinctly. Okay, something here about manifestation for sure. And I think it is that the more you declutter like this, let go of the excess, as we already said, which is labels, expectations on you, people, you know, hangers on, you know, people that you're losing your energy to, where you're not getting anything back in return, or people who just aren't aligned with you. People, situations, things, just let it all go. You only need a few little tools, like the magician. The magician has the 4 elements, right? And with those 4 elements, the magician can do anything. That's all that is required. I do feel a lot of magic here with you, a lot of magic and manifestation, and but you need to kind of get in tune with yourself more through letting go of anything that's distracting you from your true vibration, your true alignment. And maybe recognizing that it doesn't need to be a painful process for anyone. It doesn't mean you have to go out and burn bridges or anything like that and hurt anyone's feelings. It's simply letting go. And maybe part of the reason why you haven't already done this is a fear of pain, a fear that there may be consequences. Well, if I let these people go out of my life, then this will happen or that will happen. So-and-so will hate me. And, you know, like you may be imagining all of these what ifs. But your Lilith power says, but I have to do this for me, regardless of the consequences, right? Yeah, and then we have the World card. So if you do, you will see in the end that it was worth it. And nobody had to be hurt through you simply choosing to kind of cut the cords and let go. You know, drift away. Allow other people to drift away. You've got to go out and do your own thing. Like, keep coming back to Forrest Gump. Maybe watching this movie would be helpful to you, but this is from the movie tarot deck. That's why there are movie characters on the cards. But, you know, one day he just got up and he started running, you know, and then everyone started following him, but he didn't care. It's like he barely noticed even that was happening, because he was just so focused on his own journey. That's all that he really cared about, was his own journey. So it's like letting go of other people's maybe even judgments or evaluations of you. It's so difficult to do. But it can be so worth it if you can figure it out. Part of it is understanding that you are your own authority. You are going to the church of you. When we talk about you being your own foundation, I'm going to read this from the book because we have 2 4 cards here which are about foundations. So maybe that section in the book here would be helpful. But I feel like a lot of the information and the values that are coming to you from the external world are not satisfying you. And they're not satisfying you because you really need to go within to your own foundation. Let's see what Howlite says in the book. Soft is not a word usually used to describe a stone, but it suits Howlite just right. Shh, she whispers to your monkey mind. Come back to center. Sit in stillness. It's not that Howlite wants you to curl back into bed with a cup of chamomile tea and call your day done. Quite the opposite. Howlite knows that your projects and adventures, your conversations and relationships will slide into flow and synchronicity when you yourself are unruffled. You are the foundation. Come from your center, undistracted by excess, aggravation, and random irritations. This is where your power lies. There's a still point within you, Howlite advises. Allow yourself to sink into it. It's hard to sleep when your mind is analyzing the day past and making to-do lists for the day to come. Turn off electronics so your mind can begin to relax and slip into Howlite's slow zone. Make yourself a cup of herbal tea. Be present as you heat the water. Water is a primary element and heat is an aspect of the element fire. And then pour it over the leaves or flowers, which represent earth. Know that you are creating balance and that your mind, air, is coming into balance too. Write your thoughts from the day past and your needs, whether emotional or a concrete to-do list for the day to come. Know as you slide into bed that everything you need to think about is already committed to paper and your mind can relax into the stillness of sleep. So it could be a lot of what's happening is that there's excess burdening to your actual mind. You know, you need to free your mind from all of these excess ramblings and thoughts so that you can kind of get back to your center a little bit better. Off your center, imagine a tree roots deep in the earth, branches reaching for the sun. The trunk of the tree is its center. When its roots are strong, the trunk is stable and dependable. In your mind, travel up the trunk to the first branch. While still big and sturdy, there's a little give, a bit of bounce. Now travel further out the branch to a smaller twig. Notice the bounce and vibration. On this outer edge, even a slight breeze can throw you off balance. If your mind is a tree, are most of your thoughts like the trunk, the branches, or the twigs? How does it feel to have trunk thoughts compared to twig thoughts? When we create peace and harmony and balance in our minds, we will find it in our lives. So, wow. So definitely makes me want to go back to this. Reflections. What you contemplate can actualize. So it could be a lot of what's going on in your head is distracting you even from being able to fully manifest your best life. So yeah, getting rid of the distractions as much as possible, getting down to the bare bones of existence could be really helpful for you. All right, so hopefully this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye. welcome to everyone who chose option number 2, which I believe is an Amazonite heart. I can't off the top of my head think too much about what Amazonite represents, but the stone for reading 1 didn't really factor in too much, but I would say it's just a beautiful stone. It feels very calm and serene. All right, let's see what our cards have to say to us. We have water flight, beautiful. Heaviness lifts, burdens are cast away, weightlessness, time out. Awareness, contemplation, solitude, and time alone. It's interesting. So far, it's kind of similar to the first one. Okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is the movie tarot, so these are images, except for the pip cards. These are images from movies. We have the High Priestess, and we have the Three of Swords. You wanted to turn over reversed. You know, wasn't planning on taking reversals, but I'm going to take that one in reverse. Okay. Okay, now it's feeling different. All right, I'm going to turn over these cards as well. Okay, we have Amethyst, expand into wonder. Obsidian, sharp and shadows. And you live in abundance, Imperial Topaz. Let me pause for a moment so I can kind of look at the cards and figure things out. All right, so I think that you guys may be coming out of a period of time where you could have been going through some sort of death and rebirth process, which was rather painful. There was a lot of releasing that needed to take place. But in order to release the painful circumstances that needed to be released, it's like you had to move through them. And I feel that you had to become aware of certain circumstances that maybe you didn't like in order to understand how to really claim your best life and your abundance. So we have the pomegranate represented here on both of these cards, which goes back to the myth of Persephone and Pluto, and that when she was in the underworld, she did decide to eat some pomegranate seeds. So there's something here about making certain choices. What choices are we willing to make in order to live a life of abundance? I feel like you've been having to make some sort of choices here. You know, what changes are you willing to make in your life in order to have the life that you want? Because I feel like there's been a lot required of you. You know, you may have been metaphorically taken to the underworld. You know, here on this image, this mermaid is down at the bottom of the ocean, all the way down to the depths. And this says awareness on it as well. The High Priestess is about coming into greater awareness. I feel like it's almost like an alarm clock went off in your soul, and you have so much greater awareness, maybe even of the cosmic timeline or dimensional shifts. I don't know, this feels very like you're very aware of greater universal truths and multidimensionality and stuff like this. And I think through becoming aware of the way in which you can influence multidimensional timelines and things like that, it's like you have the power to create your future through I'm not even being able to come up with the right words. It's like through expanding in to the new version of yourself. There have been moments when maybe you needed to find your power through wearing a mask or through acting as if. You weren't sure of the truth And so you had to choose the truth that seemed most powerful for you. I'm not really sure what the reality is, but I'm going to choose this reality and assume that this reality is correct. Because when you're in the High Priestess energy, you are kind of like walking around in the dark and just trying to intuitively figure things out. I think you've sat, you know what I feel? You have become so much stronger in your psychic abilities, in your intuition, because you're understanding part of what all of that is you simply choosing the reality that is most desirable and the reality that is most powerful to you. If the reality you choose is, I am a powerful person and nobody can hold me down, here she's down at the bottom of the ocean, but she's not seeing that as a negative. She's not seeing that as being held down, like the High Priestess, like Persephone, who went to the underworld. There's a lot projected onto Persephone's myth, but she chose to eat those pomegranate seeds. So you're aware of your choices. You're aware that your experiences, the experiences you've had, regardless of how other people might view it, you chose it. Whether you chose it with your human ego mind or from your soul, you chose the circumstances that you had. And I feel like you're refusing to believe that you are a victim of these circumstances, or that you're a victim of the circumstances or unfolding of events in your life. And it's like through that greater awareness, then you're rising to the top here. And you can be in both places, like Persephone. You can be in the underworld at times, and be maybe going through dark or difficult times, and still understand that this is all part of the greater timeline. And then you can be like Persephone in springtime, emerging above ground. There's definitely a recognition that, or it's like a refusal to allow yourself to feel in pain or imprisoned by the ups and downs of life, which is what the Wheel of Fortune represents. Sometimes life is moving in a direction that benefits us. Sometimes it seems as though it's moving in a direction that does not benefit us, but it's the clockwork of time. It has to continually move forward. And in its continual forward movement, that's how we go on the journey that we need to go on. We also have some magic cards here. We have air. There's a lot about you recognizing, it says, work with the element of air to cut through to the core of a situation and see the truth. You really are understanding the power of your mind, the magic simply in your ability to perceive truth and like truly pierce the veil. It isn't just about divining things, but this is like you kind of understanding the mechanisms of universal reality and universal laws. And we have protection, strong protective magic for the family and the home. Some of you have definitely been making sacrifices for the betterment of your family, which is also what Persephone did. It's what happened in Back to the Future. There was a sacrifice made by the main character in order to keep his family together and help his family to prosper. But I feel like you're understanding that the more you're aware of just kind of how things work in a more astral or cosmic sense, like the greater picture of things beyond us just, we're down here in our earthly incarnations playing it all out. But if you step back and look at it from above, I feel like that's what you're capable of doing now. Like you understand the intricate clockwork of reality more fully or something. And this is allowing you to not feel so constrained. You feel free of pain more than you have simply through seeing more clearly. You know, what all of this, what life is all about, what this whole existence thing is all about to begin with. Let me shuffle and pull some tarot as well. This is an interesting reading. It's like you've learned how to protect yourself from the pain of life through seeing the greater meaning of it all. And understanding that there will be ups and there will be downs. And how do you sort of surf with the waves of life? You know, sometimes the waves are up, sometimes the waves are down, sometimes the waves are dangerous, right? So how do you navigate all of that? Definitely something that you've had to walk away from, which again is like Persephone. But also from the movie Back to the Future, which is about, you know, walking away from a whole perception of what's possible, right? Your whole reality has changed. It's not just that you've moved on from certain circumstances in your life. Like your whole understanding of what reality is has changed. And definitely some sort of moving on has affected your family in some way. And you had to tap into your Lilith energy in order to make that change happen. And say, this is not something that I'm going to put up with anymore. I love my family enough that I refuse for this particular circumstance to continue to exist in my family. And your spirit guides, including Lilith herself, is coming forward to say, if you haven't already seen the fruits of that, you know, what you've cut loose for your family, what you've done for your family, the way that you've shifted and changed the timeline to bring your family into a higher octave. You know, if you haven't already seen the results, you will see the results. And you will see that all of the sacrifices you made were worth it. You were willing to face very difficult consequences. You knew that there would be consequences, right? That's what Lilith is all about. But you made your choices regardless because you needed to do what was best for your family. And the consequences are going to be good. You know, the consequences aren't going to be so painful. Or it could be that, you know, with the 3 of Swords reversed and the 10 of Swords reversed, you've already felt the worst of it. So maybe the consequences have been difficult, but you've already made it through the worst part of it. So if at times you question your strength, remind yourself of what all you've been through. Like, you got through a lot. This was a whole effing lot that you made it through. And we have the High Priestess coming up again. More pomegranates. And the Moon. Yeah. I mean, I think that the message here is that when you choose to know, when we choose to take on greater knowing, it also leads us to an understanding that there's just more that we don't know, for one thing. I'm trying to understand here. There's something about the balance between having knowledge that gives us power to succeed in the kind of man-made, you know, areas of success, fame, glory, power, wealth, versus having knowledge that simply connects us more to the power of our soul. There's nothing wrong with either. I feel like, gosh, there's a lot of different messages coming through for you guys. Like, part of you wants to totally refuse all of those things, fame, wealth, success. You're like, I would only want to use my spiritual knowledge and awareness to refuse materialism, or, you know, to refuse those earthly markers of what success means. But then there's another part of you that does welcome that aspect. Yeah, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune on this side and the High Priestess on this side. I think that you're trying to understand right now, like, how do I want to use the power of my ability to know things in a psychic sense. You guys are extremely psychic. We have 2 High Priestess cards and the Moon card. You just know things. And how do you want to use that knowledge? I feel like your guides are saying that using it in a balanced way, in more just spiritual, soulful ways that have no earthly goal in mind, do that. But also, feel free to use them in ways that do benefit you in a more earthly sense. You need to be like Persephone and sometimes go into the underworld and exist in the unknown and the shadows and the darkness, and then sometimes emerge in the springtime in the light. I feel like I can't find the words to kind of express really what this is. There's also something here definitely about romantic partnerships. I mean, anytime we talk about Persephone, of course, her marriage was very connected to the materialistic aspects of it in a lot of ways. So maybe you've been questioning that a lot. So what's the answer? How can the viewer of Pile 2 tap into their Lilith power when it comes to, you know, shared finances or the wealth dynamics, power and control dynamics related to wealth and money and resources in a significant romantic relationship? The Knight of Cups reversed and the Five of Swords reversed. I mean, the immediate message that I'm getting is that if there's a lot of petty behavior and drama and a lot of like expressing emotions, but expressing emotions that are more about having the victory over someone else rather than like truly expressing that you care for someone, then that is kind of a clue that this is not going to be a cohesive relationship. That we may be drawn to people sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should be eating the pomegranate seeds for that particular person. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you already kind of know when someone is right for you or when they are not right for you. Persephone chose to eat those pomegranate seeds. She felt that Pluto or Hades was the right person for you and that it was worth the consequences. But to get back to your Lilith power, you may be needing to decide that in terms of a romantic relationship yourself. Is it worth it for you? You know, the consequences of joining yourself with another person and in a romantic relationship, would it actually be worth the consequences of, you know, what that relationship would represent to you, what the experience of that relationship would be? It's going to be different for all of you. You have to decide for yourself. For some of you, maybe it would be yes, because we have the Justice card here. For others, it's the Tower card. It's like, hell no. I feel like you know, maybe you're still not sure. And I think part of what using your Lilith power is, if you're not sure if you should make the leap with someone or not, is just you don't have to make a choice. You know, that's your ability as well. You can refuse to submit to having to make any certain choice until you feel like you have enough information to make such a choice. All right, so that was an interesting reading. I hope that it was helpful in some way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, welcome to everyone who chose option number 3. You chose this group of Super 7 stones. The Super 7 stones are a combination of 7 different stones. I can't remember all of what they are. Amethyst is one of them. But it has to do with connecting more to your life purpose. So we'll see if that comes up in the reading. Let's just see what we've got here. Ooh, freedom and sisterhood. Okay, well, freedom is definitely a Lilith energy. All right. Sisterhood, she's not necessarily known for that per se, but maybe that is a, you know, forgotten part of who she is. Let's see what else we've got. We've got the Knight of Coins. We've got the 7 of Wands and the King of Wands. And, ooh, lots of fiery energy with you guys. Get curious, carnelian, beautiful. So much carnelian. The carnelian colors are just in all of these cards here. And then we have the fundamentals of humanness, salt, and emerald. Let's see, where do we want to put that? A little bit of glare here. Okay, well, there's going to be a little bit of glare somewhere. So, I don't know if we can avoid that completely, but all right. Okay, choose your initiation. Get curious, freedom. Wow, well, these are both like very adventurous cards. These cards are from the movie tarot deck. So, except for the pip cards like this, they all have a movie character. So we have, this is named Neo, I think, from The Matrix. And then we have Indiana Jones. This is like 2 people who are like really going on an adventure. I'm not sure how I want the lighting to be. I don't know why the lighting is giving me trouble with you guys. Have that trouble with the other ones, but and then we have sisterhood, friendship, allies, compatible souls, loyalty, joy, and delight. 7 of Wands. I don't know, like what I'm feeling like is maybe you're wanting to incorporate more people into your life. Like you want more people to be actively involved in your journey, or you're understanding like there's some sort of journey or adventure that you need to go on in life, but you need to find the right people to take that journey with. This salt card just wants to be invisible here. I feel like there is something here about purity and white light. Pure white light. Maybe a need for purification. Let's look at these cards. Power symbol and healing. True healing of the mind, body, and soul. Oh, yeah. Cleanse, purify, and protect the physical body. Okay, let me pause for a moment because I'm having trouble getting the message. I don't want to just stumble over my words. I think it has to do with, I think that the message is that you're at a place in your life where you can attract to you other pure souls. people who are also just at the same vibration as you. Maybe this has been difficult for you because you're someone who likes your freedom. And with Seven of Wands, it could be that you sort of have pushed people away a little bit. But you are at a place now where you can enjoy a new journey that does involve other people who would want to take the same journey or go on this same adventure with you. And it takes different personalities. That's what it is. It would take very different personalities in order to make some sort of cohesive plan really come together and to give this particular journey that you want to go on the greatest strength. You need to be working with other people on something. It's going to be quite an adventure. It's something you've never done before. Maybe it's an idea you've had. It could be an entrepreneurial idea with Knight of Coins and King of Wands. Or just some sort of new career option that you've never pursued before. It's going to take you an adventurous spirit. An adventurous spirit and definitely an openness to working with and involving yourself with different types of personalities. And I feel like you're healed enough to make that choice now. Whereas in the past, maybe it was more difficult for you to interact with other people in a way that you could have really accomplished what you wanted to accomplish with this. Now you can. So in terms of Lilith, I think in the past you refused to submit to this journey. You refused to quite take this journey that involved other people because you knew that you weren't maybe strong enough in your own sense of power and freedom to keep other people from maybe overpowering you. And you knew that you just needed to stay in your power. Maybe you've experienced having other people take your power away before, and you're very intent on that not happening again. Because this carnelian color is repeating itself in 4 of the cards, I'm going to read that. Maybe carnelian stone would be a great one for you to work with right now, but let's see what it says in the book. I used to have a carnelian angel many years ago. I don't know what happened to it. Okay. Carnelian has traveled trade routes, been privy to love letters, and learned ancient secrets scribed on scrolls and stored in cathedrals of learning like the Great Library of Alexandria and the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Get out and see the world, Carnelian encourages, lending you strength and fortitude for the travels ahead. Carnelian will hop a ride with any passing caravan, following the wanderings of merchants and messengers to their next destination. This ancient talisman's curiosity doesn't stop with earthly journeys. Carnelian amulets escorted the dead, providing safe passage into whatever lies beyond the setting sun. Life's an adventure if you allow it to be, Carnelian reminds you. Get curious. All right. Crafting your seal. So this is a ritual. This may or may not resonate or be helpful to you, but I'm going to read it anyway. We're going to take an adventure here. Carnelian has been used since ancient times for signet rings and seals because hot wax doesn't stick to her surface. She's been carved into beads that fastened scrolls shut or were strung onto necklaces to be traded as currency. Not only is Carnelian a great traveler, she's a stone who's been intimate with humankind and privy to our secrets and stories for millennia. In older times, our stories were contained in glyphs and pictures. Intaglio stamps made from carnelian and used to seal letters contained images that told the reader who had sent the missive. Wait, I'm going to have to reread that for myself. In older times, our stories were contained in glyphs and pictures, like hieroglyphs, I guess. Intaglio stamps, made from carnelian and used to seal letters, contained images that told the reader who had sent the letter. The sender was signified by the plants, animals, and sometimes a motto embossed on the seal. Create your own seal or personal crest. What plant represents your spirit? What animal represents how you move through the world? What stone or mineral speaks to your core values? What short phrase encompasses your purpose? So I feel like this actually could be really helpful, especially for those of you who, like I said, are wanting to embark on some sort of entrepreneurial journey. Maybe just kind of thinking about what is your, what's the word? Like, what is your, I can't think of it. Like, what kind of images do you want to represent your business, if that's what you're trying to do? What's your motto? What's your company motto? Or what, whatever, like thinking about that type of thing and thinking about like the words and symbols that represent you as a business have power, knowing that all of that has a tremendous amount of power and really being able to tap into that and feeling emboldened by the idea that you could give power and meaning to whatever this new journey is through the use of symbolism and mottos. All right. The setting sun. To the ancient Egyptians, the colors of carnelian were a sunset turned solid. They called carnelian the setting sun and used it as a guide and protector during transitions. The setting sun has been seen in many traditions around the globe as a metaphor for the passage between the life we know, what is seen in the light of day, and the unknown darkness. Darkness indicated what could not be seen and could not be known. Death was symbolized by darkness. It was also the next great adventure, and the stone of the setting sun helped you step bravely into it. Our modern culture is less intimate with death. It doesn't feel as familiar as the setting sun and is often thought of as a thing to fear. Do you allow yourself to think about death, or is it a subject locked behind a bolted door in your mind? Can the rhythms of day and night create a metaphor for you about dying and what may come next? Yeah, this is interesting because both of the movies invoked here, Indiana Jones and The Matrix, well, they're both like series of movies, but you get the idea. Like, these are both people who like definitely face death, right? I'm actually not as familiar with the movie The Matrix, but I'm pretty sure he did. And then even the Seven of Wands, it's like, the Seven of Wands is like a survival card. This is a card about like, I am intent on surviving. However, I'm also not afraid to face those things that could challenge my survival. So whatever adventure you're embarking on, there are going to be challenges, and I think you know it. And I feel like you tapping into your Lilith power right now is like getting excited about those challenges, because knowing that you can survive them and like prove yourself more and more powerful through every obstacle and challenge that you face and succeed. It's like, yeah, come at me, like, because you know your power, you're not afraid of that. That's very interesting. I don't even think I need to pull any clarifying cards for you guys. I feel like that's the message, embrace this new adventure, this bold adventure, and just know your power to survive. But you're going to need other people and like see that as a beautiful, powerful adventure as well. Like, think of all those adventure movies like The Goonies, where you have a group of people like coming together to face some sort of challenge, Anyway, this seems exciting. So I don't know, like this is the most like bright and exciting energy for sure of all of the options. So in any case, have fun with your beautiful adventure. And know that you are free to have as many adventures as you want in life. It is your life. Go out and live it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.